In this video, we are going to understand the prerequisite for Azure Route Server and deploy Route Server, and then configure BGP peering between Route Server and NVA. Before creating the Route Server, let's understand what we are going to do. Think that, part of this particular architecture is what we are going to implement. See, implementing end-to-end, the things, including route server, IPsec connectivity, and testing the network flow might take a lot more time. So what I'm going to do in this particular demonstration, only capture the element which is very essential for you to understand when you work with the route server. So in this particular architecture, there is a VNet hub 1, there is a VNet hub 2, there is a one spoke for the hub 1, and there is a one spoke for the hub 2 as well, right? And spoke 1 is connected to the hub 1 via peering, and spoke 2 is also paired with hub 2, right? And within hub, you might see that there is a NVA, there is a subnet for the Azure Route Server, and there is a VPN gateway as well. So these two hubs is basically connected through the connectivity. This is S2S connectivity, site-to-site VPN through IPsec. The intention is like when this network is talking, is basically making use of that, the BGP routes. Rather than you maintaining the route for the spoke network, right? That is the idea. So why do we use basically route server? Is to make sure that you don't need to go ahead and maintain those static routes, right? That's the idea. So in this particular case, we if you remember the earlier the demo, we already have a kind of like a NVA deployed. So we just put a focus on this particular port. If you want to do end-to-end connectivity, think about doing yourself. I'm not going to get into IPsec and all that in this particular demonstration. Otherwise, the video would be too long. But yeah, in the subsequent sections, we're going to definitely test the IPsec connectivity. I think that time you will have an idea how to build the IPsec. But in this video, we are just going to work on a Azure Route Server and the NVA peering. How to peer those BGP peers basically, right? How to connect those BGP peers is the only focus, and this is where that particular area, we're going to put a focus on. That's only the part of the architecture, we're going to implement. We're not going to do full, as I said, right? Because it's a time consuming thing. But once you understand this part and later on, the IPsec connectivity, then you know that how to implement end to end. Okay, let's get on the portal. Right. So as I said, we already got a hub 1 and we already got a spoke 1. Now this spoke 2 is paired with hub 1, but in the architecture you might have seen that spoke 2 is connected to the hub 2. So because we just putting a focus on NVA BGP peers, we don't need to worry about setting up another virtual network in this particular case, right? So what is the first thing that we will do? We create a resource group. Let's call this particular resource group as a ARS route server, ARS route server, right? So let's create this particular resource group, RG-ARS. All right. And now what is the thing that we're gonna do? We just going to create a route servers. Okay, creating route server is not complicated. It's not challenging. It's just basically you select the option that you need. So let's pick up AGARS. Let's name this server as my route server. Nothing fancy. Australia East. We use a VPN in this particular case, nothing more than that. And we select the kind of hub, and there is a route server subnet. Now I have already created route server subnet within the VNet Hub 1, but the minimum network size needed for creating the route server is 27. That is the important thing to understand, but here we got a bigger one. That is fine. Having the bigger one is okay. You can't have the small one, small size of the subnet. We have to also create a kind of public IP. So I'll call this one as ARS PIP, and is going to be standard. Okay, nothing else. It's very minimal configuration that we need to fit to the route server, and we just go ahead and say review and create. Validation pass. Let's click on the create button. All right, deployment is completed. Let's go to the resource, and this is how that looks like. Now, few things to understand here. ASN assigned to the route server is always 65,515, and you get to peer IPs. All right, these are the things that we just need to know. And then this is where we have to add a peer connection. The peer connection actually. So first thing, what is that we're gonna do? We head back the NVA that we deployed, and we basically do the BGP peer configuration on that particular NVA. So let me get there. All right, this is the NVA, and let's get on the PowerShell command prompt here, just to make sure that we do the configuration. All right. In the previous video, you know that how we installed the remote access, by selecting the roles in that local server and add role kind of like a things. The same thing that you can do using a PowerShell. The PowerShell commandlet that you can use to configure that feature. Just install something like this, and let's make sure that is basically configured, right? That's one thing. Second thing is that now we have to basically assign the local ASN to this particular NVA, and that is what this command is all about. So let me copy paste something like that, and that is what we have done now. Now these two lines are basically the BGP peer, the route server IP address. All right, this is how you add that. That's it. And then whatever the route that you want to advertise, you can advertise that. They are the spoke networks, right? Yeah, in our case. That's it. That is what we need to do on the NVA to establish the peering. Now we go back to the portal, and on the portal, what is that we're gonna do? We add a peer here, which is the NVA. So how do we do that? Like we can say NVA, and what is the ASN that we use? We use like 65,001. You need to ensure that you're not using the ASN which is reserved by the Azure. Azure has a ASN reserved for the route server. You just need to ensure that you're not using anything out of that, and everything is available online in the route server documentation. And the NVA IP address, it is going to be 10.1.4, right? That is what the IP address is. We just need to add that peer in this particular case. All right, so is saying that provisioning state updating. Now you can see that the provisioning state is provision. It means that BGP peers are connected to each other. Okay, this is the important thing when you do the route server and BGP peer configuration actually. And that's all pretty much in this video.